A Mochi moment from Sadie, who writes, I'm not crying, you're crying. This is what I said during my first appointment with my physician at Mochi, because I didn't have to convince him I needed a GLP-1. He understood, and I felt supported, not judged. I came for the weight loss and stayed for the empathy. Thanks, Sadie. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Sadie is a Mochi member compensated for her story.
This is the Washington Times front page for Thursday, March 12th, 2026. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Hundreds of tankers and container ships are idling in the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Oman because they're unwilling to pass through the Strait of Hormuz without naval escorts or insurance. Mike Glenn reports dozens of other merchant vessels also remain trapped in ports inside the Persian Gulf because they can't get out of the kill zone of the strait after Iran announced a de facto blockade there. President Trump dismissed those concerns, saying he doesn't believe Iran has released mines into the strait. The president gave his rosy assessment as the International Energy Agency decided to release 400 million barrels of oil from strategic stockpiles, the largest release in its history. After almost 2 weeks of bombing runs on military sites in and around Tehran, the primary theater of war has shifted to Hormuz. Still, Pentagon officials said this week they haven't decided whether to provide naval escorts for commercial shipping through the area. Federal officials say an encrypted broadcast tied to Iran could be an activation call for sleeper assets to launch attacks. The alert was issued to law enforcement agencies after the encrypted message, which was delivered to clandestine recipients, was intercepted, according to an internal bulletin first reviewed by ABC News. Matt Delaney reports the bulletin warned the coded message could be directives for Iran's covert operatives or sleeper assets. It added there is no operational threat tied to a specific location. The broadcast was transmitted outside internet and cellular networks and needed an encryption key to be accessed. The federal alert urges police agencies to continue monitoring suspicious radio activity. The Pentagon is pouring billions of dollars into new technologies that can survive and excel in extreme cold with an eye toward potential Arctic combat. John Seward reports from Alaska, where the goal is to close an Arctic capabilities gap with Russia and China. The U.S. and its European allies recognize the broader importance of bolstering their presence in the Arctic to counter Russia's footprint, especially given Russia's unmatched fleet of more than 40 icebreaker ships, 6 of which are nuclear powered. The U.S. only has 3 such ships. And finally, a federal appeals court has ruled First Amendment free speech rights apply all the way down to first graders. Stephen Diner reports a student who wrote a note to a black classmate trying to say all lives matter said the principal at her California school deemed the note racist and inappropriate. The parents of the 7-year-old, identified in court documents as BB, filed a lawsuit. They lost in the lower court when a federal district judge said the First Amendment didn't apply to students so young, but the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said that first graders do, in fact, have some free speech rights. The appeals court sent the case back for more arguments to determine what happened and whether the school crossed any lines. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.
You know what's wild? Most people are still overpaying for car insurance just because it's a pain to switch. That's why there's Jerry. Jerry's the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, do yourself a favor. Download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/Libsyn. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.